You said welcome to #Jello, everybody, where we still don't know how to follow cues.
I lied. But you should have listened to me.
I was like, I'm gonna do it this time. I've got it. And James was like, okay, we're 5 away. So I'm like, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then James was like, wait, no, we're not. I'm like, ah.
But you had this
I just need to know how
vocal
long the intro
hiccup.
is.
He had this energy built up, and he was like, and he's ready to let it go, and then it's like when you pee, and you have to stop the pee mid pee, and then that was like Logan's voice. 'Cause he's like ready to go, and then you stopped, and you're like, it's like, oh shit! All right.
Eventually, one of these days we're gonna nail it. We're gonna have the intro be perfect, and then it'll be all downhill from there.
It's so good.
How are you doing, Chris? It seems like you're no longer coughing.
Yeah, I was sick for like 2 months, and
It was crazy. Like, I would text you and you'd be like, I'm still sick.
Yeah, I was sick for like 2 months. Samantha still has a cough for like 2 months later. It's weird. It's a crazy time. Coronavirus. It's a thing.
No, it's...
We don't have coronavirus. I'm joking, but no. Maybe. Yeah. We never know.
You never know. Like, that's what I'm sitting there. Because I take mass transit into work. I'm like, so how soon until I'm patient zero or someone else is patient zero and I sit next to them?
Yeah. You never know. That's how AIDS happened. It's not how AIDS happened. I'm joking.
Yeah, we'll be dead eventually. I mean, it might not be because of coronavirus. Death is inevitable. But, hey, it's a thing.
It is a thing.
So, anyway, what have you been up to while you were sick?
Just playing a ton of games, because, I mean, like, when you're sick, there's not really anything you can do. So I'm playing a lot of Pokemon. I'm trying to get all that settled and done with before expansion comes out and before Animal Crossing hits, because I know that's going to take up most of my time on my Switch. Then I've been playing a ton of Legends of Runeterra, because that dropped in open beta, so that was like a lot of my holiday break and a lot of what I was doing. And then DreamHack was this weekend, so I was warming up playing some Tekken. Played Tekken at DreamHack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So, hold on a second. Which way, James, do we need to move the stuff?
You guys are just kind of like hiding behind those filters.
Well, that's the reason. We don't want people to see us.
So if you could like move them more like so they're facing
like that. Is this better?
Do I lick the pop filter?
You can. We'll just have to put your name on it.
That's fine.
Everything better?
Is it better? Can you see us now?
Yeah, even though the ASMR is now gross, but...
So, Chris is going to lick the pop filter in this ASMR session.
So this is the funny thing. So Jenny does not like ASMR, but I call them as misters. Okay, so, which irritates her to no end. So you just need to always call them as misters.
This Asmister is brought to you by coronavirus. Ride Metro.
For the longest time, too, she didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, "You like Asmister?" And she was like, "What the fuck is Asmister?" I was like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah, got to get those Asmisters going. And
yeah. So what have you been up to?
I'm just like I was telling you before you came in. Like I was trying to find this is silly. I was trying to find a sound effect from Rebels and was trying to see if I knew it was in the first episode.
Yeah.
And I was trying to see if I could find it at a time where there's no music or background noise that's ridiculous, just so I could isolate the sound. And that became a let's watch all of Rebels in 2 weeks marathon.
Disney Plus makes that too easy.
Well, the thing I found crazy about that too is I bought Rebels on iTunes because I don't have cable, and at the time it was just like, I'll buy the season pass, it'll download to my TV or to my Apple TV, I can hit play and be done. What was weird is watching it, my iPad would be smart enough when I would be watching my iTunes purchase to go to the next episode.
Right.
I would sometimes have it playing on my iMac while I was playing a game or something.
Right.
And the iMac, so the Apple TV app on Mac OS won't autoplay the next episode, evidently.
Right.
So I would have to sit there and force it to manually play, and it got to the point where I was just like, screw this, and I just would log into Disney Plus's website and just play it that way,
Right.
even though the iTunes quality was better.
Right.
Because
It's downloaded.
it's
and-
downloaded, it's a better bit rate and all that fun stuff. But it was just like, sometimes I just need it to just keep playing. So every like 20 minutes or so, I don't have to stop what I'm doing, go to open the app, find the next episode, hit play. It's one of those stupid things that the amount of time you spend doing that is relatively inconsequential.
Right.
But we're so used now to just auto playing the next thing. It just feels like this is so inefficient and I'm wasting so much time.
Right.
But
Totally get that.
yeah, so I've been watching a lot of Rebels, and it just was like, you're like, oh, because of Clone Wars, and I was like, no, honestly, not even because of Clone Wars. I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a really good show. Let me just,
Let's just sit here. And
I'm just
enjoy
gonna
this.
sit here and keep watching, and oh look, episode 2 is playing. Oh no,
Right.
and yeah, Rebels is was a fun one to go back and revisit.
There you go.
But I have a theory we'll run when we actually move to Star Wars that I want to run past you with Mandalorian involving Rebels.
okay.
But
I'm excited.
yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. Also, I've been bitten by the Stellaris bug again, which means I was playing it a bit, which is
Right.
annoying because I always do this where I'm like, they're throwing so much news about the next expansion pack, and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to play it, and then I just start playing it before the expansion comes out.
Right.
Expansion will come out, and I'll already be like played out, and be like,
Yeah, you're
I
right.
was playing this, I'm done.
Yeah.
Just like,
Always happens.
always happens. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to recently.
That's cool.
Still need to beat Jedi Fallen Order.
You need to get on that, man. That game's real good. The ending of that game is fantastic.
Yeah, I have been told that. I know I need to get on it. I told Charles this, but did you catch one of the reasons why I had stopped playing?
No, would you?
All right. So I'm recounting a story that was in the last episode, but basically, you know, the exploration mechanic.
Yeah.
I had mistaken and looked like a wall or something, like, oh, that looks like one of those places you can crawl up. I wonder if there's like something hidden. So I go and I got stuck behind like some crates on Zepho.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out. And of course, it's not like an MMO where you can do like /stuck and then it just bounce you out. I was like, oh, I auto-saved a little bit ago. I'll do it. And of course, it didn't reload the autosave. It reloaded the last time I meditated, which was 30 minutes worth of exploration. And I was just like, I'm done for today. I haven't touched it
I can see that.
since.
I can see that being a little demoralizing.
It was one of those things where I was having a really good time playing it too, and that happened, and I was just like, I just can't.
Right.
I just did all of that. In fact, the section where I made that little clip of me failing multiple times was in that 30-minute section I lost. So I was just like, I'm going to have to do that all over again, horribly.
I mean, that's the best time to do it because your muscle memory is ready to go.
Yeah, that's true. My muscle memory would have been ready to go, but I was just like, okay, I'm done, and I moved on to something else. It
Right.
was just like,
I can feel you. Feel you on that.
all right, but let's dive into our whole long list. So why don't we start it off with tech? So this one I think is more a quick hit more than anything. But the Galaxy Z Flip and the Motorola Razr came out in the past few weeks. Everyone's like, folded phones are the future, and I have been trying to refine this joke to where it actually isn't long-winded. But basically, I'm waiting for the moment where you can see an advertisement be like, get one Galaxy Z Flip, get 2 for 1. The truth is, you get 2 when it breaks apart.
Right. So here's the thing. I actually really like the Galaxy Flip, and I think it's different where when the Fold came out, and like when these foldable displays started to come out, where we both talked about it of like, I don't like the folds because I don't like the idea of having like a phone that's a tablet. I would want a smaller phone that turns into a bigger phone,
And which is what the Z
which is
Flip
what
does.
the Z Flip does. And it's sort of the clamshell design that I was looking for more so than what I was looking for from the Fold.
Like, I like the design aspect of it, but
Right.
the glass tech just still isn't quite there yet.
No, I don't trust it, and I wouldn't buy one. But I do enjoy the idea of it more.
Yeah, it's one of
than-
those things where it's like, I like the idea of it.
I like this pivot more than I like the Fold.
Yeah,
And I
it's-
hope it trends more in this direction than it does the Fold.
Well, it's also I saw one person make a comment where it makes Microsoft's decision to have to just embrace the bezel in between the two sides of the folded display might just be like the smartest move ever, because no longer it's like they're just embracing the fact it's two different screens, and that means you don't have to worry about the phone breaking just from usage.
Yeah. But I enjoy it. I think this is a direction that I enjoy for phones.
Yeah, it's
so I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. This is, I think, a case of where
I would have been pissed if every company started making like fold designs. I would have been pissed. This is way better.
This is better. It's that just tech isn't quite ready for prime time, and to the point where I wouldn't want to go out and spend. I think it's $1,300.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for a device that is probably going to break.
Yeah.
So keep it up. Like, innovation is something. I'm not going to knock you for innovating. However, I'm going to say, like, you're still in R&D mode. Please just admit the fact that this is not ready to ship.
Yeah.
Like, it's the idea.
I'm excited for where it goes, but I need to see more.
It's like who knows if we can make an argument whether or not Apple's still this guy, but where it used to be all these companies would put this stuff out, but you would know that the product line actually wasn't mature until Apple put something out, because then it passed whatever bar they had set in terms of production quality. And that's when I'll know that the fold is a thing, is if Apple actually puts out a device and it's like, oh yeah, the glass doesn't break. Yeah. But I saw a rumor too that what Apple's looking at doing is still playing with the idea of folded glass, but it's still going to be the same flat design that they use on the phone, but they're looking more at, I forget which company it was. It might have been HTC, where there was just display all around. So and it looks like Apple might be experimenting with that as well. Yeah,
that's what I've heard that for a long time. Where it's I think they call it the endless display or whatever. It's like the play. It's like a play on like the endless pools.
Well, it's kind of stuff. With even your phone, the 10 or the 11.
Yeah.
The way the display tech works is it is folded glass, and that's the thing that people don't realize is folded glass it's a thing. It's already been around. It's where the problem with folded glass right now, with what everyone's doing with it, is it's not designed to be a hinge.
Yeah.
It's designed to be folded and left that way.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it will lose its strength.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why the OLED display works on the iPhone 11 the way it does. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of it. Just more like, please keep trying this, but don't buy one yet.
Yeah.
Wait to watch The Verge break it, and everyone will be happy. But another quick tech thing is, I know you got a new laptop.
I did.
I don't think we've actually talked about my whole Hackintosh ordeal yet.
Yeah. So what's up with your what's up with the monitor thing?
Well, the monitor thing is probably going to happen soon. By the way, James, that's probably going to happen soon. It's the first he's heard of it. So that's still like an ongoing project, but what's happened most recently, and I did write a bit about it, is the Hackintosh side of the Hackintosh is no longer there. Like, I can't even boot into Mac OS anymore on that computer.
Okay.
It's pure Windows, because I bought a new iMac, finally. Sure. It just was... I liked building it. I enjoyed building it. It was kind of fun to tinker around with, but it was getting to the point where trying to find ways to make Mac OS work was getting in the way of being able to do anything else.
Right.
To where, I think, for example, I did not buy a crazy top-of-the-line iMac. It is literally entry-level 27-inch iMac, with the only difference being that I got it refurbished. So I got a really good deal on it. I bought it refurbished, and it came with the base level of solid-state memory instead of the hard drive.
Right.
Because some god-awful reason Apple still puts hard drives in iMacs.
Sure.
I've heard there's a reason why for it. It's for like education sales.
Shit.
It's actually apparently it's because there's a lot of education sales where there's some software where to have the ability to log in on any device anywhere.
Okay.
Apparently that still requires a physical hard drive, and so it is Apple's literally only doing it for its education market,
which is huge.
Which is huge, but why is that consumer facing? Sidestepping that, I made sure I didn't get one like that, and then I added my own memory because you can do that again, thank God. But render times went from being, it would take me hours to import footage from just recordings of hashtag general, and then hours to export. Importing is now under 30 minutes, closer to 45. Exporting is kind of pushing an hour. But then again, it's also like, it's 2 hours worth of footage.
Right.
That's still pretty good. The fact that it was taking longer than it took to record to export on the
Right. Is a
on the
little bit of an issue.
was an issue. And so with the base level iMac, the fact I am beating it like remarkably by major metrics, when if you look at Geekbench scores, it's almost at parity in terms of processing and graphics power.
Right.
Even though actually the Hackintosh beats it in graphics power. That's all just because I bought a system that was built and designed to run Mac OS rather than one that was hacked it. So it's that switch happened, but I know you got a new computer recently too.
Yeah,
How's that
I did.
going for you?
So funny story. This is a great story for how it happened. I was looking at either buying a new iPad or a laptop, and I was like, okay, well, let's see. I was the only way I would buy a new laptop is if I got so it's a GS65 Stealth, and the only one I wanted was the 2017 edition. So when I was at FlyQuest, I was put in charge of buying the laptops for the office. So at the time, that's when the GS65 Stealths first came out, and they were the top of the line gaming laptop. And I was like, dude, I love these things. Their design's great. It's super thin. It's power to battery, or like power to heat ratio, and like battery usage is all fantastic. So I was like, this is great. I'm gonna go buy a ton of these. So I bought like a bunch of those. So I had that for a while I was at FlyQuest, and then obviously when I quit, I had to give back.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, I have a 2012, or it's a 2014 MacBook. So it's super thin. It's like that.
And we're talking like the tiny. I've heard a lot of people refer to it either like a MacBook Adorable or the MacBook.
It's super small, and the reason why I bought it was because I was using it just for writing and web browsing. And for someone that is only doing writing and web browsing, it is like the perfect device.
Yeah, like I coveted one for a long time because of just that. Like if I got a full laptop, it would literally be because I needed to do
like video rendering or something like that.
I wasn't
right?
doing any, I have a desktop for all that.
Yeah.
This would have literally been like a writing and casual browsing machine.
Yeah. So it's perfect for that. So obviously I still have it and it's working great, but I was like I need something a little stronger, a little more powerful, because I'm doing more video editing on the road, and like when I'm not at home,
I
and
would
like gaming.
not want to edit video on that at all.
And like and gaming stuff, and like wanting to stream while I'm like out doing other things. So I was like, okay, well let me look at laptops. And so they have the Stealth 2019 edition. So the reason why you get the 2017 is the 2017 comes with a 1070 Max Q, which is like kind of a laptop capped version of the 1070. So what it does is it limits the graphics power, but it's mainly for heat distribution and battery usage.
It's concerned about thermal and battery,
right?
Not about
So it's actually a really good power to consumption ratio, and so it's great. It's got max score, or like top scores and whatever, and it's still getting 4 hours of battery life and like very minimal heat temperature, or like heat distribution is like very solid. So the 2019s, there's two versions of it. It either comes with a 260 or 2060 or a 2080.
That's kind of an odd jump.
Very, very strong.
Yeah.
Power through the roof, but the battery life and the heat distribution are terrible.
It's probably
on it,
horrible,
right?
yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm only gonna get it if I can find the 2017 one with the Max Q in it, with the 1070 Max Q in it. So I go on, I just kind of searching around, and I look on Newegg, and Newegg has them for $500 cheaper than the model that is like the 2019 model. And I was like, oh shit! So I bought one. And you know, you go back and you look and you're like, did I go to the right one just in case?
Yeah.
So I go out to the page and they're sold out.
Oh.
So I think I got the last one.
Nice.
So it came, and it's great, and I love it, and it's awesome. There's a couple things that the 2019 has over it, like build quality things. Like if you press into the keyboard, you can feel a little bit of flex in the 2017 one. That problem doesn't happen in the 2019 one. And then also there's some things with the fan where the fan is a little loud at times. But I mean, you can easily replace the fan in there, and like it's not a huge deal. So again, I'd rather for the power trade-offs and the battery stuff and the heat stuff, I deal with the fan, and I deal with I can't press as hard as I can into my keyboard, right? Like shit
also,
like that.
When you're getting this isn't intended to replace your desktop either. You're not needing the most powerful machine.
No,
ever.
and it's mainly, again, it's just for me being able to play games that I need to play while I'm not at home, and then be able to stream when I need to stream, or like video edit when I need to video edit when I'm on the road, or like in a hotel, or at my in-laws' house, or whatever I need to do. I can do it where it's not gonna. Because it became a problem where I was like, okay, cool, we're going to my in-laws' house. I need to get all of this done in the next hour that I need to get for the next 2 days because I'm not going to have my computer. And then I can go to my in-laws' house. And if something comes up, I'm just stuck.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, here at least there's a stopgap where, okay, I can get rid of the most, power-intensive stuff on my main computer and then save the things I don't really need to, I can do that later.
Well, it's kind of like finding ways to make your workflow work better is always nice. It's like a lot of people were like, really, an iPad? It's for because you probably noticed that I did some cut downs from the last episode of Hashtag General, and 90% of that is the fact that I can load the recording to my iPad, I can watch it and do cut downs in iMovie and then export those out into Final Cut.
Fantastic.
To where when I'm actually editing, I can do that all in Final Cut, but I have this good hour and a half to and from work each day that I can sit there and I can watch most of the episode of Hashtag General and do all my cut downs. I wouldn't want to edit on this thing; it would be a pain in the ass. But I can at least get those cut downs done.
Right.
I work on the notes that we use for the episodes are usually written on the iPad. Like, I might finesse them on the computer, but 90% of what I find and what I throw in here is done on here. This is just it's such a nice thing to have a device that can just kind of fill a niche where there's just a little bit of a gap, and it's like I can smooth this gap over. Would I like to have a laptop for literally it would only be for gaming, and I'm just like, I don't do enough gaming that's not at my home. It's not worth it for me.
That was kind of the issue too, because I was debating between a laptop and an iPad, and so I was like, well, the iPad's nice because I can use it anywhere. Like for your situation on a train or on a bus or on a subway,
it's so wonderful.
Having a laptop is so much harder than having an iPad.
I don't get how I've seen people on Metro, they have their laptop out and they're working, and I'm just like, I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah, it's so difficult. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I ride public transit enough to be able to warrant the ease of an iPad. And then plus, on top of that, I was concerned about the newer iPads that are coming out. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then plus, when the newer ones come out, they're probably going to drop the prices of the older ones. And I was like, maybe I'll just wait.
Yeah, there's some good rumors going around. Yeah. We'll probably end up talking about iPads sometime next month. At least that's the
rumors. The March 31st is the rumor. So.
There's new iPhone SE.
Yeah, iPhone 9.
Yeah, of course. Because... Of course, that's what they do. Let's put out the iPhone 9 after the 11. That's gonna confuse nobody.
Well, they'll figure it out.
But no, it's always nice when you figure out a machine that just fits there.
Yeah, it just fits a need that I had. I was like, okay, cool, this is great,
awesome. But I think that does it for tech for now. So let's move on because I know you're wanting to talk about this game.
Oh, I do.
So. I've never played an Animal Crossing game. Everyone I know who has played Animal Crossing loves Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Why is this any different than all the other times people love Animal Crossing?
So they had a Nintendo Direct for New Horizons, which is the new Animal Crossing game comes out. It was a half hour of them just telling us what's going on with the game. It's coming out March 20th. So my daughter's birthday is March 20th. This game comes out March 20th. I asked my wife yesterday. I was like, so what are you doing for Samantha's birthday? She goes, I don't know, probably do whatever. I was like, okay, cool.
We're going to play Animal Crossing.
I was like, cool, because Animal Crossing comes out that day too, so I'm going to be playing that while we're doing stuff. So, but it's the, do you know what Animal Crossing is? If you had to explain to someone what Animal Crossing is, as someone that's never played Animal Crossing.
All right, let's see how well I do.
Your luck depends on it, by the way.
Oh God. Really?
Yes.
All right.
Jason, you played Animal Crossing?
Oh yeah, like
Oh.
the first one. I haven't played it recently, but
like you understand the appeal of Animal Crossing and how good this game is,
You-
right?
Yeah.
Play a villager in this town,
Okay.
and and then you could do stuff around the town, and that's about all I know of Animal Crossing.
So this is so.
I get a sense that it's also kind of because I am a little more familiar with even though I haven't played it, but with Stardew Valley.
Okay,
And
so
I'm
they're
getting
very
a sense
similar.
that
They're
it's
very similar.
Yeah.
So the idea of we'll go from where James is at, and then we'll kind of move up. So the one James is talking about is probably the one on the GameCube, right, James? So the one on the GameCube, you're a villager in a town, and you can kind of interact with villagers, and like you can collect bugs and collect like you can plant stuff, and it's all about like upgrading your house
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff like that, right? Making money, so you can upgrade your house and buy furniture and do whatever, right? So there's a great meme of like, okay, there's your villager. Then the next game was on the DS. It was called Animal Crossing New Leaf, right? And that it was on the 3DS. And that game, you play as the mayor of this town. So you are.
So like a Sim City meets or Sims meets Animal Crossing.
Kind of. So like now you can you can take requests from your villagers of like, hey, what do you want in this town? And so they can be like, we need a bridge, and it's like, cool, so here's a bridge, and like, hey, I can pay for this bridge, and they'll send out contractors to make this bridge, and you can do all kinds of stuff like that, right? Fountain, I can make a fountain in the middle of this thing. It takes time to build, but whatever, it's it takes a couple days, but that's cool. And there's all still the elements of the villager stuff where like, hey, I have a house, I can upgrade the house, I can do all kinds of stuff, right? Whatever it is. So Animal Crossing New Horizons, the story of this game is it's a you go on a deserted island.
Ooh.
And so it's like a vacation getaway on this deserted island, and so you get to build up this island however you like. And so the main thing that they showed off that freaked everyone the fuck out, because I remember I was watching reaction videos, because they're reaction videos are the best. Everyone freaks out at the same part, and now they've added terraforming. I apologize. You added they added terraforming. So like there's a mode where you like put on a construction hat and they give you a shovel, and like I can make cliffs, I can make waterfalls, I can make bridges and paths and all kinds of stuff.
I want to make fun of it, but I'm also remember when everyone freaked out when SimCity allowed curved roads.
Yeah. Dude,
when you're just like, if you play that game, you're just like,
it's insanity. It's insanity. All the QR codes. So in New Leaf, they added a thing where you can make you can make designs for shirts and clothes and like couches and stuff like that, like patterns, and then you can share those with QR codes. So they confirmed that all of the QR codes for New Leaf are still compatible with
nice.
this new game. So the game starts out with thousands of available designs for QR codes. All kinds of. The game's insane, and it looks beautiful, and I can't wait for it. I'm so excited, and it's gonna be such a hard month to like wait for this game.
I think you can do it.
I can't. I have other things to do.
Yeah, I believe in you.
I have other things to take care of.
I believe in you. Anything else game-wise that you wanted to talk about besides Animal Crossing?
Just that and like Legends of Runeterra I've been playing a ton of.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit, and from what you told me, I'm like, because I liked when I didn't really ever dive deep into Hearthstone just because it was just like, when I stepped into it, it was so deep that I was already just like, I'm never going to be able to figure all this out, and I was also not interested in buying my way into it.
Right.
And everything from Runeterra just sounds like all of those issues I have are kind of gone.
So again, I'm playing for maybe 2 hours a night for about a month, and I have 70% of the cards, 72% of the cards roughly. So that's a very good percentage. The idea of... So for me, I loved Hearthstone, and I think the thing was I love Magic and I love Hearthstone. The thing with Hearthstone that I didn't like was it felt like a watered down Magic. It felt like a... because watered down Magic is like a very, it sounds negative, and I don't mean it to be that way, but it was a very much like a
beginner's card game,
right? or just like I don't want to say
No, not beginners either.
It's like it's just very easy to get into, and it's very simple at its core.
Whereas Magic has like 20 years of
depth and stuff like that. But the thing is, with Hearthstone that I didn't like was it was very one-sided. It felt very much like my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. When it's my turn, you can't do anything. When it's your turn, I can't do anything, right? It is your turn. Where with Magic, there is a lot of back and forth of like, and even with like all kinds of very good card games. Like Yu-Gi-Oh is a very good card game, right? So like Yu-Gi-Oh is very much like, okay, cool, I play this card and I wait. Are you going to do anything? Do you want to throw in like a trap card or something? Like do you want to counter something?
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Right. And so it's stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like it's very much a back and forth and it's a conversation, right? Where cool, I'm going to do this to you and blah blah blah, and you go, "Wait. I can do this while you're doing that." And it's like, "Oh. Okay." So
there's an extra layer of strategy
there's like there's turns within turns, right? Like you can still counter what I'm doing, right? So for Legend of Runeterra, it's very much that back and forth is very much there. So it's anything I do as a player in Legend of Runeterra, it then gives you the opportunity to say, "Hey, do you want to do anything while he does that?" And of course, there's speeds of cards. So like, if I play a minion, then you have the chance to play a minion or a spell. If I play a spell, it depends if it's a slow spell, a fast spell, or a burst spell. So a burst spell, you can't do anything. That's an instant.
Okay.
Fast or slow spell happens, and then you can play a fast spell to counter it.
And I'm guessing the opposite, fast spell you can play slow?
No, fast spell, you can play a fast spell along with that fast spell.
Okay.
So you can either, you know what I mean? So the slow spell, you can play a slow spell with it, a fast spell, or a burst spell. Fast spell, you can only play a fast spell or a burst spell, and the burst spell you can't counter at all.
Okay.
Right? So it's stuff like that, right? Where there's a lot of back and forth of like, okay, cool, I play this card, waiting for you. You want anything? Cool, I can keep going. Okay, do anything? Nope, cool. Right? And so you always gives you a chance to like, do something
to counter.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff where it's like, cool, I'm attacking, and then you can block. So that was the thing about Hearthstone too, is like it doesn't give you the chance in Hearthstone to like choose the blocker. Where,
it would do it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Where in Magic, it's very important to like choose your blocker and like know who's blocking and stuff like that. Right. You've played card games, you understand how this goes. So the idea of like Hearthstone where the attacker chooses the blocker is weird. It was weird to me. So now.
Because then you could sit there and be like, oh, this guy... Because I remember doing that, too. It's like, oh, this one guy is too strong, but if I hit these other two, I can knock out. And so, he still has a strong guy on the board, but I just took out all...
Yeah. So now the idea of... Like, it's like Magic, right? Where they're sitting on the board, but, like, I have to put them into a battle action to be able to block or whatever. So, like, hey, if you don't block it, it's going to hit face or hit the Nexus or whatever, right? So, like, cool. Here's my attacker. You can block. So if you block and you're going to kill it, cool. I can now play a spell that's going to buff my guy. Do you want to play a spell to buff your guy or that's going to kill my guy or do whatever? No? Okay, cool. Now I kill your guy. Right? Stuff like that, right? So there's a lot of back and forth in that way. That's like a perfect scenario, right? Where there's back and forth. It changes the dynamic quite a bit. So it's a lot more depth. It's a lot more back and forth. I know a lot of people that really got into Hearthstone don't like it. Because again, they don't like the idea that like they feel like they can't do anything because they don't have the freedom that they did with Hearthstone to like just do whatever they wanted and I can't do anything as an opponent.
Yeah.
So they don't like it, but I think it's just a better card game.
All right.
And more generous with the way they hand out cards, obviously.
Yeah, I'll have to download that and check it out.
Do it. Do it.
So let's move along, shall we? To TV.
Ooh.
So, have you been watching Picard at all?
Watch the first episode.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I think I need to see more.
It's because I finally watched Discovery.
Okay. All the way
through. So I'm completely caught up on Discovery. Such a good, such a good show, and it grabs you from get go.
Yeah, it's really
like
good.
It grabs you and runs, and you're just like, okay, I'm in. Like,
yeah, it reminds me of like a Marvel comic where it's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but like, come with me, hurry up.
Yeah, let's keep going, and it's just like, And I love how in season 2 it's like, oh yeah, we have all these other crew members. Let's start exploring that aspect more. It just was like,
and I love that they don't hold your hand. They just like run with it, and they're like, you'll figure it out. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then I remember watching Picard, and like, because I've been keeping up to date because
Sure, you did.
my trial run, I didn't finish Discovery before it went into the first month.
Okay.
And so I was just like, well, I'll just keep watching Picard, and then I like Captain Picard as a character to where I want to keep watching, but I'm finding that it's
difficult.
It's not like Discovery where I was just like, I can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
Like this one, I'm like, I don't hate it.
I'm not having fun.
But I'm not having fun,
right.
which isn't necessarily the point of a show.
No.
But at the same time,
it does make it hard to like continue to get excited every week, right?
Yeah, it makes it harder to get excited, especially if it's not like, oh man, I can't wait, where you're just like, I'm doing this because I like Star Trek, not because I'm really enjoying this show specifically.
Right.
And the thing I found weird, and this isn't really, I mean, if you saw the trailers, you know 709 was in it.
Right.
Like, as someone who, if I was to assign any one Star Trek series as this is my Star Trek series, it'd be Deep Space Nine.
Sure.
As a Niner, I feel like I'm watching a show written by Voyager staff who are completely ignoring what happened in Deep Space Nine.
Right.
Because, like, they had, spoiler, a lot of Voyager references in the last episode.
Sure.
And I don't think they've yet to mention the Dominion War.
Sure.
It's like, hey, billions of people were affected by this gigantic war that spanned the quadrant. But sure, Voyager tossbacks.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's stuff like that too where
they aren't taking advantage of the universe that had been built up by the series runs that had started in the late 80s and went through like the early 2000s. Like, they just are only following what they think was important. It's the the gaffe that was made when they were doing Press for Discovery about how Michael Burnham was the first black lead in Star Trek, and everyone was just like, Captain Sisko?
Yeah.
It was one of those things where perfectly understandable if she didn't know it, but it speaks a lot about their PR team and the team behind the creators behind it, that they wouldn't have told her about, oh, hey, no, there's actually been...
Yeah.
Like, I understand missing that. I do not understand how the PR team and the writing staff did not go.
Right.
And it just feels like the best Star Trek series is the one that gets ignored. And it's just like, watching this, I'm like, man, you guys could be doing... Because one of the things that they talk about is how he's like, Starfleet stopped being Starfleet. Well, gee, a war would do that.
Yeah.
You could totally be talking about that, but nope. Voyager, baby. Voyager.
You never know.
I hope they get into it. I hope they go deeper into it, but it just feels like they're hitting what... Again, they're probably doing it because they want to appeal to an audience that isn't necessarily like me, who's more familiar with Trek, so they're hitting the big stuff that most people recognize.
Sure.
Data, Picard, 7 to 9. This is also the perfect opportunity to introduce those people to,
Yeah. I mean, you
other
never know, like, they might be holding it back to, like, not scare people off, and then, like, coming full force. Like, once they pull people in, then, like, going full force into, like, the deeper stuff.
Which I get. Like, I hope that's what it is. I hope that my bitching and moaning and complaining is going to be proven wrong. Like, I'm always happy when something like that happens and I'm proven wrong. But I don't have faith.
Right.
And the show is not inspiring me to have faith that that's going to happen.
No, I'm not, like... excited or enthralled. Like, I probably will hold... after the first episode, I'm probably holding off until, like, it's all out, and then I'll watch it all at once.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where I'm tempted to cancel the CBS All Access and then wait until it's done and re-up it again for just a month and then cancel again, just because then I can just sit down and watch Picard from beginning to end, because, again, I'm not hating the show, but I'm also not, like, going, oh, man, I'm going to keep my CBS All Access account because I have to watch it.
Yeah.
Like... I think I still have a couple of weeks left, so it's not like I'm in any rush to cancel, but at the same time, it's just like, I'm not re-upping.
Right.
But, yeah, it's disappointing, I think, that's my response to a show that...
You're super excited about.
That I was really excited about, because if they did Picard right, that would have... giving me so much faith into what CBS All Access is trying to do with Star Trek, and it just is like, no. Like, maybe we should just start doing, like, a hashtag, like, bring back Bashir. Like, I really just bring back Bashir and Cisco and Miles O'Brien. Just bring back Deep Space Nine. Let's do a Deep Space Nine. Let's just actually screw Picard. We want Star Trek Deep Space Nine too. That's
Deep Space 10.
Deep Space 10, because obviously that's...
You can take the Alpha approach, Deep Space 11. Just skip 10.
Deep Space X.
Yeah, there you go.
I just confused everybody. So welcome to Deep Space 10. Don't you mean Deep Space X?
No, Deep Space X Pro.
They really updated the Bajoran wormhole.
Yeah.
But who knows? I hope they do go that way, because there's, especially in Star Trek, it was a thing too. Like, they kind of bypassed the Dominion War in the movie series as well.
Yeah.
Like, the Dominion War was ongoing when Insurrection happened, and they were just like, nope, not doing that. It's just like, okay, I guess apparently it's the redheaded stepchild.
Could be.
Yeah, but that's Picard. So, moving on to the next little bit of topic. This is just a little blurb that I caught last week, and I got really excited.
Okay.
So, Disney's confirmed that there's
Yeah.
a Mighty Ducks TV series, and Emilio Estevez is returning as Coach Bombay.
Yeah, so I actually really do love the story that they're going with. Did you hear the
I haven't
rumor?
heard the story. I just
So
saw
the-
Coach Bombay was back, and I was just like,
So the rumored story, and I was very iffy at first. Because you know how, because I grew up on Mighty Ducks. You've heard me talk about Mighty Ducks a lot. I know you've talked about Mighty Ducks a lot.
yeah.
So
Dude, I think I changed it.
also speaking of which, Goldberg is a meth head and just went to jail.
Goldberg is in jail. we'll bypass that.
He just went to jail for meth.
Dude,
and-
he does not look good.
No,
in
he
those
does not
pictures.
look good at all.
Like, I didn't realize it was Goldberg until someone's like, "Oh, this is Goldberg," and I think it was like r/hockey was talking about it, and I was just like, "That's Goldberg." Yeah.
So he does
but-
not look good.
Yeah, I don't think I couldn't figure out a good way to do the gag, but I just was like, "Flying V." I want.
So yeah, so here, let me pitch you the story that's rumored. So the Mighty Ducks have become sort of with their multiple Olympic victories and all of the fame, have become sort of a powerhouse youth organization. So they got a lot of money now, and they're well known, and they're being very selective of the kids they choose. And so a kid does not get into the Mighty Ducks and gets unfairly cut from the Mighty Ducks. And so him and his band of friends and misfits have to take down the Mighty Ducks and
Oh God, the Mighty Ducks are the what's the
the
team
Hawks.
of the Hawks?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
So, and then of course I would assume that Coach Bombay is also part of that to help teach his olds.
Because Bombay left. That was
Right.
the thing, is they were
At the
coached
end of
by
the-
someone else.
At the
in
end of the
one.
third one, he had left to have them grow up and live their lives, because he
Yeah.
was like, my job's done here, right? So the idea of him coming back and because I would assume the kids from Mighty Ducks, the old movies, are now running this organization, right?
Yeah, there's been some talk about how, not rumors that he's coming back, but there's talk like Joshua Jackson, that
Yeah.
a lot of people want him to come back as Charlie.
Yeah, so and he's such a huge part of that, right? So
Yeah.
I would assume that maybe Charlie's running the Mighty Ducks organization now, and so he's kind of lost his way, as he does in every movie. So then the idea of Coach Bombay maybe having to coach this new group of misfits to teach Charlie a lesson of humility and what the Ducks stand for is
I'm totally down for
absolutely fantastic.
Totally down for that.
The mom is being played. The mom of this kid is being played by I forget what her name is, but she's from Gilmore Girls.
Alexis Bledsoe? Or?
Something like that. She's once you see her face, she's black hair. You just see her face. You know what I'm talking about. Just type in Mighty Ducks Gilmore Girls and it'll come up.
All right.
But yeah, I'm loving this storyline. And I don't know how it's gonna work, sort of as a series.
I wonder if it's gonna. Oh, Lauren Graham. So, it's the mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's gonna be the mom of the kid and Mighty Ducks.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's. I think
So do you like the flipping it on its head?
I do like the flipping it on its head. The thing too that because I was wondering also like how are they going to do this as a series?
Yeah.
I think
That was my question.
Disney has learned the lesson that Netflix didn't learn. I want to say until Witcher.
Yeah.
Like the mistake that Netflix made with Marvel. Remember how we'd always talk about how the Marvel series would be like amazing and mind blowing, and then Episode 8 would happen, and it
Yeah.
would just like completely shit the bed.
Yeah.
And then notice how Mandalorian, 8 episodes,
Yeah.
no bed shitting.
Yeah.
Like, I have a feeling that if they do this as a series, it's not going to be, let's run it into the ground. They're not going to do
Yeah.
a 20 episode order. Like, I could see this being like 6 episodes.
Yeah, and I'm very excited because, like, again, all the Marvel series for Disney Plus are 6 episodes, and we didn't talk about this, but the Super Bowl ad that they ran for the Marvel shows looks so good.
Looks really good.
And remember how I told you about WandaVision and like the Vision
Dude,
comic?
the WandaVision stuff is wonderful. It's like they literally like, just go have fun.
They were like, you know,
I feel like that was a creative note.
they're
Go
like,
have fun.
you know the comic, and you know how fun that comic is. Do that.
Yeah.
Just do that. Just
Like,
put it.
I remember watching it, and it's just literally like
'Cause they
the
have-
send up of so many old TV shows. I'm just like, this is perfect.
They have the Brady Bunch set almost. They have the I Love Lucy set
I Love
almost.
Lucy.
They
There
have
was
the,
Bewitched.
Yeah.
Even like it just was.
It was so good.
So good.
So good.
Like I saw that and I was like, oh, I was already kind of interested in WandaVision.
it's so
Now I'm just
good.
like, oh, I really want to watch WandaVision.
yeah, I'm very excited about it.
But no, I think
Very
yeah,
excited.
I think Disney's making a lot of right moves in this regard because I know I've run into the issue with Disney Plus already where I'm just like, oh, I'm starting to run out of new things to watch. And that's not a bad thing because it's the vault.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the things, something I think a lot of people haven't quite clued in yet is that Disney Plus, where it's what, $6?
Yeah. $7.
$7. Like if the typical person only ever bought one Blu-ray from Disney a year, which is probably higher than the typical person actually bought anymore, Disney's making more having them instead get Disney Plus and never buying a Blu-ray than they would be if people bought a Blu-ray every year.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense financially because now this is just recurring income that they can keep more of because they're not having to worry about. They only have to worry about the card transaction fee. They don't have to worry about manufacturing it or selling it to a reseller or anything. It's all Disney. So it makes sense that they're doing this and they're trying to make sure that it's a service worth subscribing to.
Right.
So
For sure.
yeah, I'm excited. But anything more?
No, I think I'm good. I think I love that you put that in there because I saw that a couple weeks ago and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so good. I remember talking to people about it and I was like, I love the direction this is going with this Mighty Ducks thing.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it. All right, let's move on to movies real quick. So
These are more like quick hitters.
these are pretty quick hitters, but Charles and I last week.
Yeah.
I originally had on the topics Academy Awards, just again to just be a quick hitter where I would do my normal I don't care rant.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, they're not going to choose the best picture. It's not like Parasite's going to. Parasite. He's like, no, I don't really have anything to say. And I'm like, okay, I would just be complaining anyway. So we cut it. And then, of course, Parasite wins Best Picture. And I'm just like, Roma, bitches. Roma was better than fucking Green Book. And maybe they finally learned.
So here's the thing. I don't even think Parasite is his best movie.
No.
Spoilers. I think Snowpiercer is better. And I think The Host is better.
I think it's just, it was of the zeitgeist.
Sure. No,
It
I
was
totally understand why it won this year.
Perfect. And in terms of timing and the message of that film, this
Yeah.
was like the perfect time for this movie to come out.
Oh, I totally get it. But I don't like if you want to go back and if you're like, I don't know who this director is, and you go back to his works, this is not the best movie he's made by far. And I think it also has to do with like kind of a weaker crop of films this year. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's a good film.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great. I enjoy it
Right there
too
with
much. I think it's like a really cool film, and I think it's a very Tarantino film. I don't think it's great.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
But-
Knives Out more than I enjoyed that. I finally
hell
did
yeah.
see Knives Out, by the way.
Oh God, Knives Out's so good. But no, I still enjoy Tarantino's work, but I don't feel like he's made a great movie since
Kill Bill.
Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay. I would say Kill Bill because I didn't enjoy Inglourious Bastards as much either.
I wonder how much of it was Inglourious Bastards was the first one I saw in theaters.
Maybe.
So it might be a little
be the
bit more
case.
nostalgia in my case than
I mean,
like
I
quality
did
of the film,
also
but
I did also like the Hateful Eight, but again, I'm soured on that movie. So
Hateful Eight, I once described, and I think and this is kind of my opinion on it, it is all of Tarantino's worst inclinations as a director in one film.
okay, I could see that.
Like, that's how I felt watching Hateful Eight.
Okay,
It's pretty, but man, it's almost like every time Tarantino's like, hey, this is my thing, it's just like, please stop.
yeah, okay, I could see that.
It went a little too into everything, and I ascribe to the theory that he used, I'm going to forget her last name, I think it's Menke, Sarah, or
Yeah.
his longtime editor, the one person who can tell him, no, we need to cut something.
Yeah.
She passed away after they finished cutting Inglourious Bastards.
Right.
And ever since then, the runtimes in a Tarantino movie have just gone up.
Yeah.
Because now no one is telling him to cut out the fluff.
Right. But again, I think the thing with Tarantino films is like they all have a certain tone and they have a certain feel and they're all the same. And it's all like he makes the same movie. Like you just know it's a Tarantino movie. And like part of that's really cool and it's like very much a signature thing. But man, like once you've seen one Tarantino movie, you know how the rest of them are gonna go. And you're like, all right, cool. I know I don't need to see this.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where I was like, cool, this is great. I don't really know what the storyline is here, other than like him just telling.
The 50 words review was literally lifted from Charles because it's what he said when we were walking out of the theater.
Yeah.
We saw it. He's like, that was a pretty good movie for not having a plot.
Yeah, I mean,
And that was kind of how I felt about that movie.
like it didn't like I don't understand what the point of that movie was, and I was like, okay, well, this is a cool like slice of this guy's life, but
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Like, Brad Pitt gives a good performance. Leo gives a good performance. It's
Yeah, I think they just I think
it's solid, but it's not.
they 100% had Margot Robbie in there just for the name value of Margot Robbie because she was only in there for like 4
You
scenes.
literally could have just cast anybody else.
Yeah, she was
And-
just in there because her name's Margot Robbie and she's attractive and she's a great actress.
Yeah.
And I was
Like, it's not a knock on her at all,
No.
so much as
she's like, they didn't use her. I was like,
yeah,
all right, cool.
it's just like
I don't like this movie.
you have this great actress and you kind of just are like, That's how I felt with like her role as Sharon Tate was so just inconsequential, even though it's
Yeah.
like the big climax is around it.
Yeah.
That it felt like a waste of her talent.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like they were going to do more with her just because I was like, okay, cool. They're like bringing in the Mansons. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
They're going to like bring in this. They're going to have her be a big part of the thing. No, she just shows up at the end and goes, you want a job? Come hang out and we'll give you a job.
Also, the most gratuitous shots of feet in any Tarantino movie, of course, are in this movie.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Oh, yeah.
no one was telling him no anymore, so look at them feet.
Yeah. Whatever.
But yeah, so I know a lot of people like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got robbed, and I was like, no. No. I still haven't seen Irishman, and I've also been told I'm not missing out too much.
No, Irishman is 3 hours of a mob movie.
3 hours of a Scorsese movie you've
Yeah.
already seen.
I was like, all right,
It's like,
cool.
okay, good to know. Again, you get to, I think the reason why Knives Out and Parasite stuck out in so many people's minds is that they were solid, they were fun, and they weren't, typical.
Yeah.
Like, they were not expected in the way that, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was expected.
Sure.
Or Irishman was expected.
Sure. I think, the only other movie that I would think of that, was very good that I don't even think got shortchanged. I just think, deserved more recognition than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Irishman. Because, those two films got, I think, needless amount of praise.
It's, again, as much as we were just talking about Tarantino, there are some directors out there who they're good. This isn't a knock on their talent.
Yeah.
But their name being attached to something is immediately going to inflate the amount of
Right.
attention it will get.
Like,
and
dude-
so it'll get a bunch of noms, but will never win because of that.
Like Uncut Gems is so good.
I still need to see it.
It's so
I've heard amazing things.
But like again, it's better than those two films, in my opinion. And I don't think it got enough credit. I don't think it should have won. But like again, you need to give it more credit than Irishman. Like I don't think Irishman's
It's like my whole. It's again to
Yeah.
recap my
No,
whole
yeah.
Oscar thing is this is Prom. It's not actually based off the merit of the film.
Totally get you. Totally feel you on that one.
It's like
100%.
if I ever am associated with a film that is nominated in some way, you sure as hell can bet money that I'm going to be all in on that shit. Still doesn't change the fact that it's Prom. A lot of it is schmoozing. A lot of it is marketing. A lot of it is just you're trying to become prom king or queen or whatever. Prom royalty. And just it's my normal refrain. Everyone knows Alfred Hitchcock. Almost no one has seen the film that he made that won Best Picture.
True.
Because if you were to guess what it is, you're probably not going to name the film. It's Rebecca, by the way.
Wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah, exactly. You would have been like, oh, it's probably like North by Northwest or Psycho or insert all of these films everyone knows from Hitchcock. And it's the first film he made when he came to the States and isn't the best known.
Yeah.
But it won Best Picture.
Oh well.
Yeah. So
Would you say it's better than the other films that you mentioned?
of Hitchcock,
Like, is it worthy of that, of winning that award?
I mean, I didn't see any other films nominated, or I'm not aware if I've seen. Okay, let me put it better. I may have seen films that were nominated for the 1940 Academy Award. I don't know what any of them are. It's not that a film is or isn't worthy of being Best Picture. Like there are films out there that have won. Like as much as I not Green Book, it was still it has a ton of problems in terms of how it handles race, but it's not like a bad movie.
Right.
But it wasn't like groundbreaking or great. And so when it comes to like Rebecca, it's not a bad movie. Don't take it as a knock on Hitchcock's film at all. It's that being called Best Picture isn't necessarily going to mean that it's going to last the historical test of time. Green Book is going to get forgotten. It's going to become a line of trivia. It's not going to be taught in a classroom. Roma didn't win, and it should be taught in a classroom. Like the statue is less important in the grand scheme of things. It's only important in the immediate moment.
Sure. And
And-
for everyone working on that movie, they can put that on their resume.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's something that now they can put Academy Award nominated or Academy Award winning. It's a marketing tool that keeps building. Like, so if you are working in the industry and you get a nomination or a win, yeah, you put that is your stamp, that is your mark from here till the end of time. But the film itself that may have won might not actually last as long as the Academy Award winner, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Just so happens that I think he won for Schindler's List, which will last the test of time. There are examples of films winning that do have longevity and should have longevity, but there's also examples of films where no one gives a fuck.
Well, I think that's happened the last couple of years, in particular, because there just hasn't been like the standout. Like this is it, this is the one, for a while now.
Well, I feel like Roma should have won, but I wonder how much of it was the politics behind Netflix.
Yeah, the streaming stuff.
Yeah, and that's still a thing. I don't think it hurt Irishman so much, but it definitely probably. There you go. Way to be definitive, Logan. There's a lot of anti-Netflix aspect in Hollywood establishment, especially around awards, because no one likes how Netflix it's not respecting the art.
Yeah.
By not putting it
speaking
in
of
theaters, which I think hurt Roma, because Roma was, I think, the only film I can think of in the past few years that was on the nomination list that should have won and would have lasted the test of time if it had won.
Right. Speaking of to what Logan's talking about, if you're interested in a deeper conversation with people way smarter than us about it, the Hollywood Reporter did their yearly roundtable for the executives. So among Alan Horn for Disney and the Sony guys and Fox Universal and all the other people that are on the table, usually
The studio formerly known as Fox.
Yeah. So among all the other studios that we usually are associated with on that roundtable this year, they had Netflix and Amazon. So they had a very interesting discussion about what Logan's just talking about. So if you want to hear smarter people talk about this, go ahead and check that out.
And I will make sure to link that in the show notes.
Yeah.
THR roundtable. Okay. But yeah, we're going through changes as an industry.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Right.
That everyone's going to just have to deal with. That
Right.
people are changing how they watch film.
Right.
Might as well kind of dive into it now. It's something I was originally going to talk about a bit in Star Wars because of one of the Star Wars rumors, but I think now's the perfect time to talk about it because didn't get a chance to talk about it last week because I wanted to talk about it with you. But the fact that AT&T has announced that there's a new, basically Warner shingle that is exclusive to HBO Max and to Warner Max.
Yeah.
And the idea is it's going to make mid-budget films they're saying 6 to 8 films that will be launched and released exclusively on HBO Max. And I think this is kind of the inevitable area of where all this stuff is going to land because what's happened in the past really took off in this past decade, but it was becoming an issue even the decade prior as the box office has become increasingly more and more behind the blockbuster. There's been less and less space for these mid-budget films.
Right.
To where you no longer wanted to make a movie for $60 million because it just could not compete with the modern box office and how it worked. It just wouldn't happen. So what's happened is we've seen more and more low budget and more large budget and nothing in the middle.
Right.
And all that stuff is starting to come back, but it's exclusive to streaming.
Right.
Because there's an audience that is paying continuously, so you want to make sure you have content for them, and it makes sense on your financial breakdown to put that out exclusive to your streaming service because you no longer have to worry about the costs of marketing. You no longer have to worry about marketing it twice. You don't have to put it out in theaters and then market it again for digital sales and try to make money. You're just you know what? It's a sunk cost that keeps people subscribed.
Right. So this is an interesting conversation too, because also on that same roundtable, they're talking to Alan Horn. People don't know Alan Horn is a longtime executive. He was working with. He's
Warner.
He's in everywhere.
He's kind of been everywhere, but he got taken. Disney took him because of what he did with Warner Brothers in the 2000s. He's
the Harry Potter guy.
He's the Harry Potter guy. Harry Potter.
He's done a lot. They asked him about his kind of favorite projects, and he was kind of listing stuff off the top of his head in this roundtable, and it's absolutely insane what he's been working on. But so he brings up, they're asking about Disney Plus, and so the thing that he brings up is the mid-level sports films that Disney put out over the last 2 decades that were kind of, he said, are great films.
They cost $30 million, but they don't do anything.
But due to marketing costs, were actually net losers and things that they can't make anymore. But now with Disney Plus, have been able to make again. So the one that he brings up, the 2 that he brought up that I can remember, that he brought up by name, $1 Million Arm,
which I still need to watch. I think it's on Disney Plus.
It is on Disney Plus, and then of the same vein, the jogging or the
McFarland USA.
Yes. So that one. So those 2 films he brings up by name of these are great films that no one saw that we lost money on purely due to marketing.
Yeah.
And so now with Disney Plus, they can just kind of throw it on Disney Plus and it becomes...
Like I said earlier when we were talking about TV, it's the idea that for Disney, they are going to make more money having someone subscribe to Disney Plus than they would be making this movie and putting it out on Blu-ray and having people buy it.
Right. So again, it goes back to the same thing you're talking about of these are movies that he's bringing up by name and that the Disney executive has acknowledged as their plan moving forward of hey, we can make these films again. and we're happy to make these films again, and we don't have to market them
Yeah,
in the
because
same way.
they no longer have to worry about the theatrical
Right.
release. And the great thing about this is one of the reasons why people have been concerned about the loss of these mid-budget films is we see it actually a lot in the conversation around Star Wars that people have been kind of missing, where they would talk about how if I first noticed it with Star Wars, but it really has applied to all these blockbusters.
Right.
This idea that you would have these directors who would make this really good low budget film, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you give them a $150-200 million budget, and the last time they worked on a film it was 10,
Yeah.
if that.
Right.
And there's no middle ground. There's no learning process on how to handle a larger budget, how to handle a larger crew. And so you hear all these issues of where it's just like, why are all these issues? Well, first off, reshoots have always been a thing.
Right.
And it's just more attention is given now because
Social media.
Social
and all
media.
stuff, yeah.
But some people have argued, and I think they're right, is it used to be this person would make this big splash with an indie film. You wouldn't give them the $200 million budget. You'd give them the $30 to $60 million budget. And then they would cut their teeth on that, and then you'd be like, okay, I trust you. And then you would give them the larger budget film. I think that's what they're actually doing with like Mandalorian and other stuff, is they're getting these directors and they're trying to...
With Deborah Chow in particular, I think that's
Exactly.
exactly the person that you're kind of referring to. The thing that I would make an argument for is how Marvel's doing it. And it's a little different because I think Marvel, the thing that's great about Marvel is Marvel has they have the backing of Disney, the full financial backing of Disney, plus they have the experience of their producers to kind of help and not handhold, but sort of make it so that these indie directors that they're getting are comfortable and are able to handle it with the help of these top level producers that they have that are experienced, that know what they're doing, that are a team, that have been together a long time, and that are able to just kind of like bring them along and say, okay, cool, we'll help you all along. What's your creative vision? And then just letting them go ahead and have fun with it, and then like, cool, we'll handle the rest. You do your thing.
It is honestly the way I would describe Marvel is it's the only time we have seen something akin to golden age of Hollywood in the modern era of filmmaking, which is you had a lot of studio involvement. The producer was almost as important as the director.
Sure.
And a lot of the creative decision making was made, or it's not that the director can be swapped in or out.
Yeah.
But there's a studio process behind the filmmaking
Sure.
that hasn't really existed since the golden age.
Sure.
Like there's always been studio meddling, but this is not meddling.
This is full collaboration and full like creative process along with the director, and like it's so important. I think that's such a huge thing when you're talking about, okay, cool, like this indie film's great, let's bring you up to the big leagues right away, and then don't worry about it, we're with you the whole way.
Exactly.
And because I think the studio process right now is like, cool, here's your budget, go off and make your movie and come back to us.
By the way,
later.
the release date's already been set. You have to get it done now, which is
So the
I
thing,
think, honestly,
the
one
thing
of
with
the biggest
Marvel,
problems with Star Wars.
Marvel is like now with Marvel, when you're handing them the keys to the car, you're like, cool, here's the keys to the car. I'm gonna be in the passenger seat right with you. Don't worry about it. If you have any like it's like taking driving the driver's ed kid, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool, don't worry about it. We got you. Just to go ahead and do your thing. If you get off track, I have the
got
brakes.
you, bae. I got brakes.
I got brakes. I got
steering
the
wheel.
the secondary steering wheel. We're fine. Don't worry about it. Go off. Do your movie. And then it's like, oh, let's go this way.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay. We got you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So
Roundabouts are weird. We get it.
It's so interesting to see that they're the only studio that's really kind of can do that right now.
Yeah, and
I think Disney's seeing them do that and saying, "Oh, let's do that with Star Wars," but then it didn't work with Star Wars, and they're going, "Okay, let's tone down a little bit."
We'll talk about that. I guess. It's just I'm glad that these mid-budget films are back.
Yeah.
And as much as everyone's knocking Netflix, that's why it's happening.
And we already see with Disney Plus where they did Lady and the Tramp, and then they're doing Noelle. They did Noelle, and then Moana is the next one apparently.
Really?
So they're filming Moana in Hawaii, or not Moana. I'm sorry, Lilo and Stitch
Oh, okay.
in Hawaii. So that
makes a lot of sense because Lilo and Stitch is a movie that I don't know if there's enough nostalgia for to
Not
do
yet.
a theater release.
Yeah.
But you definitely could do one to Disney Plus and know that you'll be fine.
Yeah. So they're doing that. That's been greenlit and they're filming in Hawaii. I think this year or next year.
That's smart.
It's a perfect kind of Disney Plus film.
Yeah.
When you think like the Lady and the Tramp kind of line of okay, like this level of Disney nostalgia. Like, I love Lilo and Stitch. I grew up with Lilo and Stitch. But, like, I don't know. I'm curious how that's going to look with low-budget CGI for Stitch. But, we'll see. Because that could look weird.
Disney owns ILM. They'll be fine.
It could look weird. Just saying.
Last bit on movies is the Batsuit.
Okay. I'm both in love and hate it at the same time.
I'm right there with you. Like, I'm like, oh, they're kind of trying to do, like, Batman. It's not year one, but it's like...
It's like young Batman,
Young
right?
Batman, still starting out, still putting his stuff together.
Right.
But sure, yeah, that's totally going to make the bat symbol out of handguns.
So, no, that's not even the part that bothers me. So, I love the look of the Batsuit. I love everything about it. I love the like, raised collar look that's separate from a cowl. I like that it's just more of a helmet with a raised collar. I love the kind of the beefiness of it, but the beefiness of it is something that I hate at the same time because for Robert Pattinson and for the rumors that we were getting
We
about
were
this
talking
Batman,
about this live Batman.
what?
Like, skinny.
Yeah. So like I want the more nimble, agile Batman. I want the like almost gymnast type Batman.
And we're getting again.
We're getting the bulky like Batfleck,
Batfleck,
like younger Batfleck kind of Batman. Where it's like, I've seen this so many times. I don't want the brawler Batman. I want the martial artist Batman. We want the
ninja, the one that can get in, get out, and not be seen.
I want the ninja Batman. I want the sneaky motherfucker. Like, where's that Batman? I don't want the beefy brawler dude that's just gonna throw hands. I don't want that. I want it. So I'm a little upset. But at the same time, if this was just a normal Batman movie, just looking at it as a Batman movie, I love the suit.
Yeah.
But again, for what I wanted, what I was expecting, a little disappointed.
Yeah, it's like I like a lot of the design aesthetic, but also like the handgun.
The handgun thing
kind
is
of
weird.
just like it's just weird.
Yeah.
But
Whatever.
The Batsuit.
Yeah.
Moving on to Star Wars, which we totally haven't talked about, which is
I love that. I love how this is the only franchise that gets its own hashtag.
No, Marvel has its own now.
Oh, okay.
Marvel's had its own for a while. It's just it hasn't been a topic for a couple months.
They're in hibernation after Endgame.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. They're like, well, if you had not been sick after the Super Bowl, we would have probably talked about that trailer and given it a little bit of its own topic. But otherwise, there's been kind of nothing really to dive deep into. But do you want to start with Rise of the Resistance, or do you want to end with Rise of the Resistance?
We can start with Rise of the Resistance. It's up to you, really.
Let's start with Rise of the Resistance.
So,
how was it?
Let me tell you this journey first. So, of course, the reason I went to Disneyland was we had a family reunion because a lot of my family was here from Hawaii. And so when that happens, we usually do a family dinner and a reunion and whatever. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. There's about 40 or 50 of us in a house. It's great. And then on top of that, I don't know if we've talked about it before, but my whole my family, so meaning my parents and me, were Disney people. So like going to Disneyland, Disney movies. I grew up a Disney kid. Very important to me. I know that park like the back of my hand. My whole family is like that. So everyone has annual passes and everyone knows Disneyland like crazy. And so it turned into why don't we all just go to Disneyland this weekend too? So we were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So it was Samantha's first time at Disneyland, so we took her. I have a great story with her too, by the way. We'll tell Samantha's story real quick. So Samantha loves Disney princesses. It's like her favorite thing in the world. So I was like, all right. So she loves Belle and Ariel. Those are her two favorite. Well, she likes Elsa and Anna too. But Elsa and Anna now have a new thing at California Adventure. So they have a new show at California Adventure, meaning that they no longer appear in Disneyland. They only appear in California Adventure.
Okay.
So we're not going to California Adventure this week. So we're only going to Disneyland. So I was like, Samantha, we're not going to see Elsa and Anna. We can find Belle and Ariel. So right when we get to the park, we're kind of talking with family and stuff like that, and then my family goes to go do Mr. Lincoln. And I was like, dude, I can barely sit through Mr. Lincoln. There's no fucking way Samantha's watching Mr. Lincoln. I was like, let's go head to the princess area and see who's around.
See what we can find. Okay.
So right when we get there, there's a line for Belle. And it's like maybe 3 people. And I was like, okay, go.
Yeah.
So me and my wife and Samantha jump in, and she meets Belle, and she's like on cloud 9. I can see the biggest smile on her face. She just met Belle. She has a plush Belle. She's super excited. She took pictures. She's very happy, right? She's like on cloud 9. She's like uber excited, right? So I had bought her. We went to the Disney store at downtown Disney,
yeah,
and she had bought. She wanted Elsa ears, but they don't make Elsa. Or they don't make any kind of frozen Disney ears. Strange. I think that's free money. Disney, go ahead and do that. But they have Ariel ones, so she wanted Ariel ones. So I got her the Ariel ones. So she's wearing those, and so she's like, "Daddy, Ariel." And I was like, "I know, but we got to find her. She's walking around like there's no time.
She has legs.
You got to find her, right? You got to find her." So there's a area in the princess area called Cinderella and Friends, because it's Cinderella's castle.
Yeah.
So Cinderella and Friends. So it's Cinderella and then 2 other princesses, and I assume they go by whoever's available or whoever's working that day. It's like, Janet, Jennifer called in sick. You got to go put on the Myrna costume and head in there, right? So it's or like, hey, Tiffany's on break. Do we have another princess?
We need a princess.
Yeah. So it's just Cinderella and then 2 other princesses. You don't know who it is. It's kind of random. So we go in there, we went in line, and Sven's like, "Daddy, Ariel." And I was like, "Oh, I know, honey, but we gotta find her. We're not sure." So we go in there, and the first princess is Snow White. So Samantha's get very excited. They had a conversation, whatever. Then the second princess is Cinderella. I'm like, so in my head, I'm already going, weird. Cinderella's usually the last princess, unless they have something bigger there. Because like they save the big wow for the end, right?
Yeah.
So like they kind of go by princess popularity of like who sits at the end. But Cinderella's castle and Cinderella is an actual very popular princess, so she's usually at the end. So I was like, okay, why is she second? I was like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not thinking much about it. And so they do a thing where you turn the corner and you don't see who it is until you turn the corner. So Samantha talks to Cinderella. She's very happy. And I was like, Samantha, so we turn the corner. I was like, cool, one more. Are you happy? And she goes, yeah. So she's very excited. She's kind of like, she's getting tired because she's like a little overexcited.
She's been overstimulated.
So she's a little like, I'm kind of done. And I was like, okay, honey. He's like, okay, we go now? And I was like, no, just one more. She goes, okay. So she kind of walks over, and I just hear, and I hear her gasp as she turns the corner, and I turn to look, and it's Ariel, and she freaks out, and she loses it, and I was like, oh my god. So she has a conversation with Ariel, and we walk out, and she's like, okay, I'm done now. I was like, all right.
She's been Disneyland.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool, you done.
I remember I saw the picture of like the end of the day, and it's just like
she's
Samantha's
done. She's out. So then. So back to the Rise of Resistance. So me and Jenny no one else wanted to go with us because a couple of other people in my family had rode it already, and the other ones that didn't had kids that they didn't want to like wake up super early. So the way Rise of Resistance works, obviously, is with the boarding pass system, meaning it's like a virtual line. So you have to be in the park. Your tickets have to be scanned into the park for the button to activate for you to be able to sign up for tickets. So I had my tickets, my parents' tickets, and Samantha's tickets on my app. So I had to delete my parents' tickets and Samantha's tickets so it didn't sense them on my... So you know what I'm saying?
So they wouldn't get added to the queue.
Right. And because it wouldn't let... if they weren't in the park and they weren't with us, if they weren't in the park, it wouldn't let me go to... It wouldn't add us to the queue because obviously the other 3 people weren't in the park.
Yeah.
Right. So I deleted them, and then so me and Jenny left the hotel. We stayed at the same hotel. So we stayed. So it's like 15-minute walk. So
yeah, it's not bad.
So we left the hotel at 6:30, We walked down to downtown Disney. We got through the downtown Disney security line at about 6:50. So very fast. It wasn't that long. And then there was a long line to get into the park. So those are your two choke necks. If you're gonna do this, there's two choke points. There's the downtown Disney security line, and then there's the Disney Park security line, or like
The Disneyland
the ticket
yeah.
line, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a security line. Again, huge security flaw. But whatever. I digress. So that they start letting people in around 7ish. So we got into the park around 7:30. So we sat around Main Street until 8. So
Because you can't check in till 8, right?
right. And the thing is crazy. It's kind of dystopian because they go on the loudspeaker of like boarding pass tickets become available at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. for Rise of the Resistance. Boarding passes.
The only way that could be
Right.
better is if they played "Glory to the Empire"
Right.
in the
So, like-
background while they did the announcement.
So it is-
attention, citizens!
Yeah, it is kind of dystopian. And then all of a sudden at 8 o'clock they go, boarding passes for the new Rise of the Resistance ride is now open. Boarding passes
And you're
are
just like-
now open, right? So you're spamming that button. So mine wouldn't load. So I had to close the app and reopen it. And I was
God.
like, oh my God. And so I'm freaking out. And like as I'm reopening the app, I hear around me, woo! Yeah! Woo! I'm freaking out.
everyone's just
Yeah,
like-
I'm like, oh God. And so I get it and it's 114th. So not bad, because on average they hit around 140, 150 every day. So it's not that bad. They guarantee the first 80. So if you're within the first 80 and they don't hit 80, then you get like vouchers or whatever. They take care of you. If you're over that, it doesn't matter. Like they don't guarantee that. So we hit 114, went great, whatever. The best part was as we're walking out of the park, hearing people that didn't get passes or hearing people that like had fuck ups was hilarious. Because I'm walking by, right, and I see a couple, and all I hear is, God damn it, Sarah, you forgot to delete the other tickets. And so he's like frantically deleting tickets, and I was like, oh my God, that dude's wife fucked up. And then I hear, I guess a guy and his girlfriend didn't get tickets, and I hear her go, why the fuck did we get up so early then? I don't fucking understand. So it's like, it's hilarious, right? So it's great. So then that was 8 o'clock we got our passes, and then at 7:04, because it was the ride went down for a little bit, so obviously it's a half hour or so wait. So they were at like 1:12, 1:13 at about 6 o'clock. So I was like, oh, it could be any minute now. So then we walked. That was when my mom and Samantha wanted to go back to the hotel. So we walked them back to the hotel, and we come back, and it's like they're at 1:13 and the ride's running. And so I was like, well, Jenny didn't get to walk around. Well, we didn't. We walked around with Samantha, but we couldn't really shop or look at anything. And so I was like, well, we can go walk around Galaxy's Edge, so you can go see stuff while we're there. And then it's just like a short jump over when we're ready, when they call us. So, dude, we got in there, and Jenny literally grabs the first shirt to look at. And I go, let's go. And I grab her, and we run through. And it is an experience, and it is a wonderful experience to get to talk about the ride. It is a wonderful experience, and it's funny because I talked to my dad about it, because my dad was like, "How long did the ride take you?" And I was like, "Well, riding the actual ride is about 10 minutes. From when they start interacting with you and start like when the experience starts, it's about a half hour.
Yeah, that it's a half-hour experience, but the ride itself is quick.
Yeah." So it is a special experience because of everything they do with it. I know you don't want spoilers. So I don't know how much you want me to talk about.
I know enough, like not about what happens, but it's more like there's kind of like a briefing and like a boarding area, but they don't make it. It's like they took what they learned from Indiana Jones, but went like, no, we can't just have this passive. We need to actually have some form of active engagement.
So yeah, there's very much you're a part of this experience, and it's very cool. One of the coolest parts about it, and I was telling Jenny about it, and it's not really a spoiler. So obviously the story of it is that you're joining the Resistance, and then you get captured by the First Order, right? And you get put on you board a Star Destroyer, because that's where you get the big window glass with all the stormtroopers are, right? That's not a spoiler. Everyone kind of knows that. So you interact with First Order officers, because they have to obviously interrogate you as you're on this Star Destroyer. So, dude, when you get off and you see it's spectacular to see the room with the stormtroopers and the big window, whatever. So I wanted to take pictures of it, right? And I wanted to take a picture in front of the stormtroopers. But as I'm like waiting for Jenny to take pictures, Jenny's not fast. Jenny's not a quick person. She's not like, so she's very like meticulous. So she's like trying to get this picture, and like the first order officer comes up to me and gets right in my face. He goes, "In line, rebel scum." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, and so he's like, "Get in line." And I was like, and so he's like, "Is this a joke to you?" And I was like, and so I get in line, whatever, and the pictures turn out terrible, whatever. It's great. There's stuff where it's like, there were kids touching like the sides of the ship because like it's cool. It's inside Star Trek.
It's Star Wars.
So he's touching the ship, and the guy goes, "The ship is not a toy. Remove your hands from this." And they're like, "Oh shit!" And then so there's a point where they're like, line up in a single file line, and then these two girls like kind of they do the thing where you stand next to each other, and he gets up into me. He's like, "I said single file," and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And
my god!
And there's stuff where it's like,
I'm sure whoever is playing this guy is having a blast.
Oh, but the thing is, all of them are like that. And so like I was leaning against the ship, and then the guy goes up. He goes, "The ship is not your home. Stand up straight." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Dude, how great would this be? If you're working at Disneyland and you're working at like It's a Small World or whatever, and you're just having a shitty day, and you go, 'Hey Logan, are you working Rise of Resistance today? Can we switch shifts? I'm like in a bad mood, and I
just need to be a first order officer.
I need to be a first order officer today." Like, you know what I mean? Like it's incredible, and it does so much for the ride to bring you into it, to set you up that like you're on the Star Destroyer. Like it changes the whole tone of that experience because you're in there. And like, you're a fucking criminal. You know what I mean? You're
a rebel scum.
You're a rebel scum. It's awesome. It's so cool.
I can't wait. Like it's because they're doing the deal right now. I still need to buy them, but they're doing a deal now where for Southern California residents, where you can get like, basically like 3 tickets for
like $70 a day.
Yeah, it's like basically. I don't think it's even $70. It's about $70
It's $200 for 3 days.
But it's also like only $70 more than you would get for like a single day pass.
Yeah.
So it's a great deal, and I just need to do it and go because
it's an incredible experience. And like,
I know Kelly and Charles are in a boarding group today. I don't know if they've ridden yet, but
it is awesome. And the thing that I will say is, so our ride had a little bit of, so I know I ruined it for myself a little bit because I knew everything that was happening in that ride.
Yeah.
But there was some cool stuff because I think the Kylo Ren animatronic was down on one of them. So like I saw a pivot of like, oh, here's what they do when this doesn't work. Here's what happens. So that's kind of cool because you get to see sort of the other side that most people don't get to see.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Stuff like that where, because obviously every ride has about like 4 or 5 different fail safes of like, oh, okay, if this doesn't work, this happens, or like this doesn't work, this happens. Because they can't.
Because I've heard that the
ride,
timing on this ride especially is
not.
There's little wiggle room.
Yeah. So it's very, very small, and so you can see the timing and you can see the movement of it, and like even though the thing was broken, it still moves the same way, but like they tell the story differently because something else is happening, right? But it's very cool. Watching Jenny experience it was crazy because she had no clue what it was, right? So we're walking in there and she goes, because like normally most rides after you get through the briefing section, it's like the ride, right?
Just like a ride, yeah.
So she's like, "What is happening?" And I was like, there's like 4 or 5 parts to this ride. She goes, "Do we sit down in this ride?" And I was like, "Eventually, but not now." there's more. There's more. And so she was a little overstimulated because of how insane the parts of those rides are, and it's pretty great because it's the kind of thing where there's parts in it where I know she'll get scared or I know that it'll surprise her, and I don't want her to like flip out, so I'm like, she's like kind of just enjoying herself, looking around, and I was like, "Hold on," and she goes, "What?" I was like, "Hold on." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I was like, and I grab her hands, I put it on the railing, and all of a sudden, like something happened. She goes, "Ah!" And she screams, right? And I was like, I told you, like you stop looking around. Like, well, I tell you, hold on.
No, I remember, I think the text message I got from you almost immediately after was, I was just like, yeah, I need to go. And I'm like, I'm thinking of going when? And you're like,
I was like, I'll go again.
yeah. You were like, I'll buy a ticket. It's like, because you got the past deal I just talked about, and your family was talking about going at a different time than I was, and you're like, I'll just buy another ticket. I'm gonna go.
I'll do it. Again, like, I'll always go to Disneyland. It's never like, I will never say no to going to Disneyland. But like that ride, and it's so sad too, because like that kind of immersive. I don't want to hear like the Disney buzzwords, but like the Disney buzzwords like immersive experience, right? But it really is an immersive experience, and it's something that I think that was the whole vision of Galaxy's Edge as a whole. Yeah. That they didn't nail. Well, I don't think they didn't nail. I think that it's almost impossible to do that for an entire land. I think that was a little overly ambitious.
Because, and this is something we were actually texting about yesterday when we were throwing the list together, was the idea that so much of the immersive aspect of Galaxy's Edge is in the Disney Parks app.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know that,
right,
you would be thinking that Galaxy's Edge is little more than a Star Wars themed shopping mall.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of it is a Star Wars themed shopping mall.
Sure.
Because Star Wars fans, we blow money on tiny little toys.
Yeah.
But I remember playing around with the app, and there was like a ton of cool things, but it was just like, you needed like a group to do it with you to get some of that stuff working. And so if you don't have that going for you, you're missing out.
Yeah.
And so I think the comment I have made was like, they needed something to prompt people to be like, no, you need to pull out your phone and do it.
I think they've understood that, and they've really gotten more into, like, they've gotten a lot better since we've gone.
Okay.
So, for reference, we went in October, so that was 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, they're I want to say about 4 or 5 months into Galaxy's Edge.
So when we went, it wasn't very immersive. Now they have a lot more stormtroopers walking around and a lot more interactions. So
how much of it also was the fact we went on a weekday?
It's true. We went on a weekend. This time was a weekend, or it was a holiday, so it was a lot busier and a lot more going on. So I mean, like we were in line for Smuggler's Run with my family, and like 4 or 5 of us tried to high five the stormtrooper walking by, and he was like, "Hands down, citizens! I'm on patrol," like stuff like that, right? Nice. And it's like, whereas like that stuff's great, right?
Yeah.
And, like you want that kind of experience.
When we went through it, I would have described it as like the starting area in an MMO where you literally have nothing.
Yeah.
Where you're not supposed to stay here long. You're just supposed to like get the quick thing done and then get going.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of, again, it's not just layout, but like it is a lot better when it's more lively because they have a lot more out there, right? There's a lot more stormtroopers. Again, the stormtroopers are interacting. They're looking for people. They're searching for stuff. You can see them on patrol. Like they actually have patrol routes that they're walking.
Yeah, there's like sections that they won't go to and Resistance won't go. Like so, basically, we know that Disney, when they designed it, there were sections where First Order would be present and Resistance wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. There are areas where the Resistance is present and the First Order won't go.
Yeah. Like there's I saw Chewbacca walking around, and like if Chewbacca saw a stormtrooper, he'd hide behind a thing or stuff like that, right? Nice. Where it's stuff where it's okay, this is cool. But you know, that they're getting better.
That's
and I think it's going to come with time, right? Again, I think we went a little early where it wasn't 100% like they don't know what they're doing yet.
I'd heard on a podcast somewhere from someone who had been to both Galaxy's Edge in California and in Florida, because Florida opened later,
right,
that they made a comment that the cast members in California had kind of, a few months after opening, had kind of dropped a lot of the we're in Star Wars aspect, whereas the ones in Florida were still playing in character. Right. And I'm wondering if that's something they're trying to adjust and making it to be like, no, guys, you need to be in.
Yeah, I think that's been sort of a focus because again, I heard a lot of Bright Suns and like To the Spires and stuff like that when I was in there this time. Which we didn't hear that last time.
I think the only time we got any Star Wars type reference is when we heard like a visitor or one of us make like a May the Force be with you reference.
Yeah,
and then you would get some sort of Star Wars based interaction, but it wasn't like. Right. It felt like, I'm a guy in Star Wars Land at Disneyland, not I'm a person on Batuu.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to going again. I do want to take the time to try to go through Galaxy's Edge and try to do some more of the interactive stuff, but I also know that means when I do that, I need to have whoever goes with me, or if I go solo, figure out a way to go to where I have a party that
Right.
is all in on, no, we're going to try to do all we can do in the app in Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
But the other thing, too, is with my older phone, because I have the original iPhone SE,
Right.
its battery was getting killed by it. And it's just like, that's another thing I don't know if they thought through, was the fact that older devices might not have the battery life
Yeah.
to pull it off. Like, it was an actual concern I had while using it, is like I was killing my battery. But yeah, like I'm excited to go back again, but yeah.
Resolution is definitely worth the trip back. I don't know if it'll be worth doing multiple times, but I know it'll be worth doing at least once. It's a special thing.
Next item on the agenda is something we kind of already really touched about when we were talking about mid-budget films.
Right.
Is there's a rumor that there is another Star Wars film in the works, but that it is to be determined whether or not it'll be a theatrical release or straight to Disney Plus.
Right.
And as much as there's a part of me that wants to get all up in arms and be like, Star Wars should be on the big screen, there's also a part of me that goes, if they're making like a $30 million, $60 million Star Wars movie, it makes sense to just do it straight to Disney Plus.
And the thing is, I like the flexibility that they're going with. Like, I don't like the idea of like them getting a good idea and then forcing it big budget if it's not built for that way.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
one of the reasons
idea
why
of, like,
I was hesitant about a Kenobi movie. Is because
Yeah.
if they gave it like a $140 million budget, it's like, guys, that's like, Kenobi needed to be a small budget film.
Yeah.
And if it gets straight to TV, like basically Disney Plus series,
Yeah.
we're going to get that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm excited that again there's flexibility where it's more about the idea and what comes out of it, and then whatever comes out of it, then they'll decide where it goes.
Yeah.
Rather than like, cool, let's force it into this box that it's not made for. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're realizing that Star Wars, some of the best Star Wars that's come out has been the animated series and live action television. Like, it's like The Mandalorian, Rebels, and Clone Wars is what a lot of people point to as best examples of Star Wars in the past decade. But I think that means that they need to embrace this idea that Star Wars can, wherever Star Wars goes, as long as you keep to the spirit, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But moving along in Disney Plus news, Rogue One, the prequel series, is going to shoot later this year.
I'm excited.
I'm really excited. Like, because I've even said it to some people that I wonder how much better Rogue One would have been if it was a Disney Plus series. Like, I like Rogue One, the movie, but how much character development would we have seen if they had done that entire movie over, like, a 6-episode arc?
I don't know. I still like I think the movie idea and keeping it focused on the mission is better. I think if it had like the lead up, where like you did the character building and series, like this cast. I think if the Cassian Andor series came out first and then they did the Rogue One
That's
movie.
kind of how really what I mean
Yeah.
in that regard is, like, I think Rogue One would have
Rogue
been
One-
better is if we had all this character development
Right.
prior to the movie.
I think like Rogue One works really well because it's so tightly focused on like, this is the mission, this is what we're doing, and like, this is the story we're telling. And I think like it could have gotten bogged down if you focused on character stuff, because like at the end of the day it doesn't really matter. Character stuff doesn't really matter. It's more of like, okay, here are these character archetypes that we have here, and they're doing this thing.
Yeah.
I think where that movie lost a little bit was with the Jin character development a little too much, because it was like the dad stuff. I was like, I don't really care.
Also, they lost a lot of, like, if you read Rebel Rising, there's a lot of her and Saw.
Yeah.
And her growing up.
Yeah.
That is not really, it's addressed in this show, but or in the movie, but it's not like,
Yeah, it's not like a major focus. But like,
Yeah.
again, I don't think her character development is necessarily important. I think it was like, cool, this is who she is. Doesn't matter how she got here. This is like the kind of person she is. Okay, cool, go.
yeah.
I think that's like the most important thing, and I think they did a little too much of like her backstory and like making her focus, where it's like, I don't really care. Just tell me what she is, tell me what she's doing. Give me the backstory if it's important. Otherwise, let's go.
Right, but yeah, Diego Luna said in an interview it's shooting this year, which means we'll probably see it next year.
Yeah,
Disney Plus.
very exciting.
But then also, I think Kenobi's got pushed. Production's been pushed another year.
Yeah, so there's rumors that Filoni is jumping on.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so they're gonna help. They might rewrite.
What it sounds like, it wasn't any hesitance over Deborah Chow's director. It was they weren't happy with the script.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of it comes from.
And that happens.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's trying to read too deep into it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that is this is
worried.
how the industry works. A, and B, it's getting more attention because it's Star Wars.
And it's Kenobi.
And it's Kenobi. And there's a lot of people out there who want Star Wars to fail. So yeah.
I mean, it was bad when McGregor had to come out and be like, "It's still happening. Don't worry."
Like, this happens, and I'd much rather them take the time to get the script locked down than push it into production just because of how it looks in the press.
Yeah.
Or how it would look in the press.
Sure.
But the other little bit of Star Wars Disney Plus stuff is, did you watch the behind the scenes ILM video that they put out for Mandalorian?
No, I did not. Oh wait, I saw a little bit of something. I don't know what I saw.
It hit on YouTube. It was something ILM.
Was it the one with the screens where the?
Yeah, they talk about
Okay, I did
working
see
with
that.
Epic and Unreal to. It's one of those scenes where if you have any interest in production and visual effects in either of those spaces, it doesn't have to be both. In either, this is kind of mind-blowing. Because I remember reading an interview where there had been a comment like, oh yeah, we were shooting a lot on screens, and like a Disney executive showed up and was like, oh man, I thought you weren't building any sets, because they didn't realize it was a digital screen. And you're like, they built stuff. And then I watched this and I went, oh.
No, it's screens.
It's screens. Like, I totally get that Disney executive, like, straight on. Like, this changes a lot when it comes to production, because one of the trends that's happened in the past few years is they've switched from doing everything straight on green screen to when, if they could use an LED background for lighting and just shoot it in camera. Like, this was something I think that was first done by God, why am I blanking on his name? But it was the director from Tron when he did Oblivion.
Right. They
had an entire set that was supposed to be in the clouds, and instead of shooting on green screen, they had projection of clouds. It's old school filmmaking. This is something that whenever you would watch like the really bad driving effects in like a 1930s movie, this is the exact same thing, but with modern technology.
Yeah. So it looks real.
It looks real. And it's just like, honestly, I think we are only starting to see it. Like, they even said in the video, like, they realized how much more they could do with this system, and they began to change how they were shooting stuff towards the end of the Mandalorian run, because they realized that they could do more with the system as it was set up. And it's just like, this is going to change a lot of things, because it opens up productions that need to stick to a lower budget but need to have this epic expanse. Because it used to be, and it still kind of is, like with Game of Thrones, they would have to go out and find, in many instances, like real life locations that could be a stand-in for this area. And with Mandalorian, they were like, no, we don't have to do that at all.
Yeah. Here's an empty lot, and here's screens.
Yeah. And you know what? It's going to look just as good.
Yeah.
And, we're going to have some action happening in the background. Well, guess what? We can basically do the VFX work on that in advance, so the actors can be reacting to what is happening on the screen as if it was happening really in front of them.
Yeah. And
it's just, the VFX process that usually happened at the end is now happening at the beginning, and it's helping tell the story. And
I will say, this is not easy, and it requires a lot of planning and a lot of pre-planning, and it's very hard to adjust after the fact to
change things. But for something like Star Wars that is planned to the T, this is perfect.
It's amazing. It is just phenomenal. Yeah, and we'll put a link in the show notes, but holy crap. Finally, the last bit, Clone Wars is officially back.
Yes. So is Echo.
I know. Echo's back. I need to rewatch the Citadel episode because I didn't remember him dying.
What? he explodes.
But it's like the opening sequence.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, it's like, look at our budget, baby. You can tell that Disney kind
Plus.
of, I think they learned from Rebels, where one of the problems Rebels has is you could tell that they really were trying to keep them on a tight budget.
Sure.
And I think they realized, like, oh, we shouldn't do that.
Well, low budget animation is like some of the worst stuff you can ever do.
Yeah.
So,
Like, you could tell that they realized, oh, we need to put a budget behind this.
yeah,
Because it looks so good.
it does. It very much does.
And I'm excited for more. I
Yeah.
can't wait till we hit. It's probably going to be the very end of the series, but I can't wait till we start seeing Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah.
But oh man, I'm so glad it's back. I'm so glad that they're closing it out.
Yeah. I'm glad that they were given the opportunity to say like, cool, you can end on your terms now.
Yeah,
Go ahead and finish, and then like, well, then we can put it to bed. But like, the idea, like, how many shows get the chance to like years, almost a decade later to go, yeah, come finish
come
your thing.
back, come finish it.
Yeah,
Family Guy.
so good.
They'll kill Family Guy again, and in a decade they'll bring it back. But yeah, no, it was a pretty solid episode. It was really
There's not too much,
not so much to talk about, but
I
yeah.
mean, it's just a good episode. I would recommend watching it. If you haven't watched Clone Wars already, now's a good time to go back and watch it. It's all on Disney Plus.
on Disney Plus. I linked to it in the last episode's show notes, but I'll link to it again. The essentials list that I put together, which I
Yes.
think is gonna need to be updated a bit. But I also saw somewhere online
Well, now the Echo episodes become
become a little more important
Yeah.
again. So it's like it's going to need to be adjusted. So there'll be at some point probably an updated, modified, and renewed essentials list for Clone Wars. And also I saw somewhere that they are still following the anthology aspect a bit, to where episodes happening now aren't necessarily being shown in broadcast order, is not the same as chronological order.
Yeah.
So there might even have to be more adjustments that way. But
Oh, I forgot about this. Continue.
yeah, that was really it.
Okay. So another thing to bring up before we close it out, the New York Toy Fair is this weekend.
Yeah.
So they're
Baby Yoda.
No, yes, Baby Yoda, but they have new Black Series stuff. So Black Series is sort of their collector's edition stuff.
The
That's sort of-
high-end Hasbro.
Right. So, interestingly enough, Dark Revan lightsabers have been announced for Black Series.
Did we talk about how I think that the yellow lightsaber for Rey
Yes.
is supposed to be like
Yes.
they're setting up.
Yeah.
They have been setting up since Rebels. They've been setting up some form of return to Old Republic
Yeah.
era. I'm wondering, because I don't think they've released anything yet from Project Luminous, which is supposed to be like the next big phase of Star
Yeah.
Wars, and it takes place during this period they're calling the High Republic.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be the new canon Old Republic period.
Possibly, but so they announced Dark Revan lightsaber, Black Series lightsaber, changes from red to blue in control color, and they announced some other Darth Revan and Malik, like merchandise, like toys and figures and things like that, and they wouldn't do that if they weren't planning something. So
I think it's been confirmed that Pablo Hidalgo of the Story Group, I think he's been spoken up as a fan of the Old Republic game. Filoni is also apparently a fan of Old Republic.
everyone's a fan of Old Republic.
Yeah,
How can you not be a fan of Old Republic?
it's one of those cases where the creatives at Lucasfilm are fans of Old Republic and they want to do something with it. I think a lot of it is just setting up the groundwork.
Right.
Because Old Republic definitely leans harder into stuff that we saw in Rebels with like the holocron and the temple.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Kind of how Exegol looks and feels
Oh,
in
that was
Rise
the
of
other
the
thing, too.
Skywalker is so much like in that vein.
Yes. So that's the other thing too. So I did write Star Tours. One of the last things I did at the end of the night.
I know you said that, but I didn't ask. So did you see the new stuff?
So I think every single writer only gets the new stuff now, because we got the planets we had Endor, but like Death Star wreckage Endor.
Nice.
So like with the waves and the water and crashing.
So we see the Star Destroyer that gets blown up at the end of the movie.
Yes. No, you see the Death Star. You're flying
Well, no,
around the Death Star ruins.
Yeah, but when is it take? Is it like because you see
in Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, because you see that Star Destroyer get destroyed in Rise of Skywalker.
So you're flying through wreckage of the Star Destroyer, and then this last planet. I think everyone, because I talked to some people that were in the other pod, and they also got this ending. The last part of the ride, you fly to Exegol, and Star Tours is a part of the last. Because you get as you're flying out into space, you get a call from General Lando that he needs your help, and then you fly. You hyperspeed through there, and you get out of the portal, and you end up on Exegol with all these ships around you, and they go take out the turrets, and so you take out the bottom of the Star Destroyers, and then you're flying around to the end. I
wonder if anyone, because I know there's some people, it's going to be one of those cases where once it finally hits like Blu-ray and digital, people will finally do analysis of all the ships, but I'm still wondering, like...
The Ghost is in there.
I know the Ghost is in there, and the Colossus from Resistance is also in there.
Apparently, according to Star Tours is in there too.
Star Tours is apparently in there. I'm wondering, where are the Naboo starfighters? That's my question. Where are they?
How many of those are left?
They are in... they're in. You played Battlefront. They're in Battlefront 2, and like fighting against the Empire. So there must be some still around, likely. Like,
but yeah, that was a pretty good trip because I was like, oh yeah, it would make sense that if this was canon, Star Tours would be in this like brigade to show up.
Yeah,
I was like, cool. All right, cool.
But I'll have to ride Star Tours again. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah,
woe is me.
But yeah, that's kind of the new stuff that's in there. It's kind of cool too because it usually when you ride Star Tours, it goes like planet, okay, cool, and then right back into another planet. This one, it stops in the middle, and I was like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, there's a projection of like there's General Lando, and he's like, I need your help. And I was like,
I'm with you, General Calrissian.
I was like, all right, Lando, let's go.
Let's go, Lando.
And so you go out, and I was like, are they gonna do it? And we pop out, and there's just fucking Star Destroyers everywhere, and then the ships are flying around. And I was like, oh, they're doing it.
Can we go to Disneyland?
So good. I'll go with you.
Let's go to Disneyland.
Let's go. Let's go right now. Fuck this place.
Yeah.
Lock it down, James. Let's go.
We're going to Disneyland. All right, let's wrap it out. Like, share, subscribe, do all the fun things. You can find us online at quality3.net. You can find us on every social media outlet at Quality3TV. Feedback at quality3.net if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And yeah, I'm online at Studelmeyer. You're online at Kid Liquid. Yeah. We'll see everyone around in 2 weeks.